What is up, everybody? Happy Friday. Hope y'all had a good July 4th weekend. Candy, how are you doing?
Hey, Jacob and community. I am doing fabulous today. How are you doing?
I am good. Invigorated. A lot of really exciting stuff happening. Big night last night, of course, with game 2 of the finals quest and championship badges. We'll dive into all of that, I'm sure. But also excited about a lot of stuff still to come. Very exciting week on Top Shot, and we're not done yet. So without further ado, I think we could just dive right into the questions, Candy.
All right. So I have, over the last couple days, compiled all the questions from both Discord and Twitter and things the community has submitted, compiled those together, and we have a lot to talk about today, Jacob. So I posted the agenda in the office hours channel so people can follow along if they'd like. The first section that we'll start with is actually through S2 and beyond. So let's first look at what's on the roadmap for the remainder of the S2 season. What's ahead?
Sure. So as you all know, playoff packs today. Very excited about that. Soon after, and TBD when we'll announce, but the next rare drop, as many of you know, is And Then There Were Four, our rare drop celebrating the conference finals. After that, we have two more drops, or two more releases, I should say, in Series 2. The fourth playoff packs, commons, and then the legendary finals drop. And the legendary finals drop, of course, can't happen until the finals conclude. So that we're looking at, late July, early August, depending on how long the series goes. But that's all we have, and then we're done with Series 2.
All right. And so with that, you mentioned that we have the rare and the legendary drops coming up. Do we have information about what those look like specifically? So timelines, throwback pricing potentially, any news there?
Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much. I think we can confidently say that we're looking at And Then There Were Four sometime next week. And we'll have more details and announcements about it soon. As for pricing, it will be under $100. I'm not going to get into the specifics of what it will cost, but it will be a rare pack under $100, and the edition size of the rare moment in that pack will be under 1,000. It won't be quite as scarce as metallic gold, but it will be far scarcer than throwdowns. It will be scarcer than Rising Stars and the All-Star Game rares from Series 2. So very excited about that.
It does feel more rare. That's exciting. And also, since, we have the finals and then the end of this season, what about the Olympics? I know that, we're called NBA Top Shot, but there are NBA players that are going to be making Olympic appearances. So do we have a possibility of seeing any moments from that? Or if there are licensing concerns in the future, maybe?
Yeah. So as you know, this is an NBA product. The NBA and the IOC are different entities altogether. So while I don't anticipate we'll have Olympic moments in Top Shot, what I do think we'll look into is, daily quests around what's happening in the Olympics. I think I can't promise it because we need to figure out what we're allowed to do as a team. But I think there would be a lot of fun around kind of collecting moments from players that are playing in the Olympics, whether Team USA or internationally. So stay tuned for that. I think, as a basketball fan, first and foremost, I'm just very excited that we're going to have an off season with basketball played under the brightest lights on the biggest stage with the best athletes in the world. So more details to come as we figure them out, but definitely something we're looking into.
Fantastic. And other things that we're looking into, let's move to the run it back topic. That was something we got a lot of questions about from the community. So after the finals drops conclude, I guess to start, are we only expecting run it back drops before next season, or will there be others?
Yeah, so a little too premature to show all the cards up our sleeve. But what I would say for sure is that we are going to have rare run it backs this offseason and hopefully some common historic moments as well. Now, one thing I really want to make clear to everyone, taking the feedback from last office hours and hearing concerns, we're not in the business of rug pulling on this, right? So if you collected a moment from 2013-14 under the presumption that maybe that was that player's rookie moment, so to speak, we're not going to just, put common moments of the same player from the same year into Top Shot callously. So more details still to come on kind of what our exact historic moment plans are. But as I mentioned last time, and we'll mention again, we're planning to go into the archives of NBA history, and the library, as you all know, is quite extensive, and it's not going to be restricted to just rare moments. There will be common moments. There could be legendary moments. There will likely be ultimate moments down the road for NBA archived history. So want to put that all out there. Again, we're cognizant and sensitive to the fact that when it comes to the 2013-14 run it back, we did not give a full picture of our entire plans for historic moments. So when we go into the archives of history next, we'll do it very kind of conscientiously so that everyone in the community could get a better picture of what historic moments could look like on Top Shot long term. That's not to say that 2013-14 is a closed book permanently, but we are going to be very thoughtful about kind of what our next steps are there.
All right. And so understanding, I guess, that we're going to be very careful. Did you have information about the seasons or players being involved for this particular run it back year?
I'm not ready. We're not ready as a team to share because there's still kind of a lengthy process of identifying the moments, getting them approved, getting them into product. So I want to respect that process for sure. But what I can say with certainty is we will try our very, very best to go into the archives to an earlier date than 2013-14. Now, what that looks like, still TBD. It could even look like 2 or 3 different years making it to Top Shot in the off season in different kind of tiers of moments. So still TBD there again, but we are very much looking at going deeper into the archives of history than 2013-14.
Okay. And another thing that has been mentioned previously in the community wondered about still is, there's been mentions of other series between this season and next season. Is that something that's still possible, and are there any details about that?
Yeah, so what we know based on community feedback is that we don't necessarily want to have our off season be series 3. We might be looking at regular seasons as the incremental increase in series number. And it's possible that we have a different type of series in the off seasons going forward that runs on a slightly different kind of parallel track, if you will.
All right. So understanding that the path is still yet to be paved, but we'll be providing the roadmap for that, as soon as we have things finalized enough to comfortably share, knowing that there's a lot of moving parts. What are we looking at for future packs? And I ask that specifically, one of the things that people have wondered for the conference finals that we've got coming up, the rare pack, is that going to use a collector score snapshot, or are we releasing it in advance? Do they have the ability to earn their way in after the announcement?
Yeah, so as you all know, or many of you know, this week we were able to launch live real-time collector score updates in product. And what this means is it paves the way for us to not necessarily need to have snapshots, right? Because you'll be able to join the drop and our interface will be able to identify what your collector's score is in real time as you're entering the queue. So really excited about what that looks like. And yeah, just generally speaking, I think it's very possible. As you all know, we're going to have a very, very new system for our next rare drop that involves drop levels. So just want to make sure that what we're doing here has the collector's best interests in mind.
All right. So other questions collectors have asked about packs specifically are what happened to the Series 2 release 27 base packs? Are those going to be released? People have noticed they are not around.
Yeah, so these packs are now being used for customer service fulfillment. So for those of you who didn't know, we had what's the best way to put it? More than anything, it was just kind of circumstantial that we never got to release 27. But as you all know, with every drop, not every drop goes perfectly. Some people have issues when it comes to checking out, etc. So when it came to release 27, those are kind of in our proverbial warehouse that we can then use for customer service resolutions. So I don't anticipate that they are going to be released in a drop or a stress test, so to speak. Now, none of that is etched in stone, but that's kind of how our customer support team is looking at utilizing those packs long term.
Right. And the other hot topic of the day, Josh Hart has been receiving some packs, and we've seen that in the past as well with other athletes. Can you explain what's going on there for everybody who's wondering?
Yeah. I saw quite a bit of commotion on Twitter earlier, so appreciate the opportunity to kind of dive into it. Josh Hart and NBA Top Shot have entered into a long-term partnership. Details about kind of what the partnership includes are, stream appearances, participation in quests. Josh Hart loves NBA Top Shot, has been using the product, was really the first NBA player to get super involved in the product, and just a great brand partner for us. So while yesterday we fulfilled the lump sum distribution of the packs that he received, this is not a one-off type drop. He's going to be doing a lot of stuff with us over time, and this was one kind of avenue of the partnership. Now, a few things that I really want to clarify here. I saw on Twitter that someone said he got 50 packs. That is just, unequivocally untrue. We did drop him 5 hollow icon packs as part of the deal, and a dozen rare packs and a dozen common packs. That is the full scope of a partnership deal that will stretch for months. Again, Josh is one of our favorite players to work with and is a big part of kind of our plans for long term. He's actually also invested in NBA Top Shot and has a personal interest in continuing to help us grow. So he is a great partner. We are looking into a bunch of different considerations with him long term, including giveaways directly from his account, so you can get the Josh Hart blockchain autograph, so to speak, of him giving you the pack. But from Josh's manager, even this morning, these packs were not free. Josh entered into a deal with Top Shot to make multiple appearances and do multiple things with us. He decided to forego quite a bit of cash compensation in exchange for these packs because he is a big believer in the product and loves Top Shot. So I just want to expectation set. NBA Top Shot would be nothing without the players, right? They make the moments, they drive the interest. They're the ones that everyone in our community wants to get closer to as we explore what utility looks like, unbuyable kind of experiences with players, so to speak. Josh will be kind of a pioneer in the space with us on all of those fronts. And I also want an expectation set that this will not necessarily be the last time that we work with players and give them packs in compensation for long-term partnerships. Now, one thing that I think is unfortunate or is frustrating is we worked with Josh around kind of participation and driving interest into showcase quests, and that kind of coincided when we dropped the lump sum. So I think some people in the community may have misunderstood that what he did yesterday was a product as a result getting those packs. That was not a quid pro quo. The deal with Josh is much, much bigger than one promotion of a showcase quest. It's super authentic. Josh is a big believer in the product, as I've said, and he's someone that we want to align ourselves with because as one of the kind of most personable and relatable athletes in the NBA and an upcoming free agent that's going to have his pick of the litter of which team he wants to join next season, I'm just super excited to continue to work with him on really exciting kind of unique integrations. And yes, we did drop him a bunch of packs yesterday. Yes, those packs are really hard to get and exclusive. But to be clear, this is a long-term brand partnership deal and not a one-off because he helped us promote a quest yesterday.
Thank you for that very thorough and detailed answer, Jacob. That is important for the community to understand that, when we hold those packs back during drops, and they're for promotion and customer service, this is part of that. And that's always been something we've been transparent about. But let's move on to moments. So one of the, I think, most commonly reoccurring questions that we had and feedback throughout really the whole life of Top Shot is about the number of moments and the types of moments that we are minting. Can you share a little bit about the metrics that are used when making mint quantity decisions? So specifically things about rarity tiers, the balance on the number of moments per player in a given series, projections of current or future collectors, if that's something that we take into consideration, or how do we make those decisions?
Yeah. And I've touched on this before, and I'll kind of be drawing from the well of what I've said before and maybe share some new insights here. First of all, I think when it came to the playoff set, your feedback is well heard internally. We know that many collectors in the community were disappointed with the size of the set. And the trade-off there is either you have a ton of moments from the playoffs or the moments from the playoffs have huge edition sizes. Being able to ensure that every moment from the playoff set had an edition size of 12,000 or fewer felt like a really good kind of next step for us. And here are kind of some of the reasons. When a single moment happens in the playoffs, it's kind of a legacy defining moment. It's where superstars are made. Let's look at Trae Young as an example. Let's look at Devin Booker as an example. NBA history is immortalized through the playoffs. And for us, we're in it for the long haul. So this Top Shot as collectibles are meant to be bought and sold and loved for decades still to come. And that doesn't mean that every moment needs to feel equal. Variety is a feature of NBA Top Shot. Each moment does, however, need to have a reason to be minted. So what we're doing right now is we're building a collector sandbox, so to speak. And there are different types of collectors and different reasons for picking what you love. And Top Shot intends to give every one of those collectors the ability to build a personalized collection that tells the stories of their fandom in the way that the collector wants to tell the story of their fandom. When we designed the 2021 playoff set, our guiding light was how do we best tell the story of this NBA season? And when we think years and years down the line, we're going to be releasing tools and options to build your collection in a way that can be far better organized than it is right now. Now, on the topic of scarcity in the common set, I've said it before, I'll say it again. The common set is meant to be accessible when they're first released, both by pack and by availability. For many collectors starting out, these packs are the magic moment, right? They're the time I can speak because I've heard it from community members left and right for months now. Opening packs is the best part of the Top Shot experience. It's the most fun. It's thrilling. It brings you back to your childhood. And that doesn't mean that edition sizes will always feel common. Our Series 1 commons had edition sizes of 1,000 to 4,000. And years from now, will look rarer than most of the rares we have in years to come. In Series 2, those moments will be locked soon, and no new plays will be added shortly after the finals legendary pack release. Given the goal for packs to be accessible, one thing we want to consider as a team, particularly when we talk about core common sets like the base set and playoff set, is how do we balance accessibility while still making pulling a superstar in a pack feel as amazing as it should be? Finding that kind of ideal mix of good players and kind of accessibility while still having them scarce is something we're putting a lot of thought into, still gathering data, gathering feedback from the community. And while we're storytelling, like the number one thing as far as building your collection on Top Shot to be mindful is this is all about the long term. And there are a lot of things that in the short term we can make compromises that the community would like, but our goal as a team, as a product, is to bring billions of people, billions with a B, to the blockchain and experience the benefits of kind of decentralization. So for us, what we're really trying to do here is we're trying to kind of lay the foundation of making Top Shot an accessible collectible for every fan, no matter what your budget is, while still making rares and legendaries exactly that, rare and legendary to collect. And I can understand and empathize with the community because the edition sizes from Series 1 were a lot smaller. And that was a product of, at the time, the user base, the collector base was so much smaller that proportionally it was quite similar. So we are going to continue to, be disciplined, look at feedback, get smarter, get better, because I think I'd be the first to admit we can get better here. And your feedback goes a long way to helping us get better there. So hold us accountable, but also understand that there are kind of two different things going on at once. And common playoff set moments, common moments in general, are not supposed to compete with Bored Ape Yacht Club or CryptoPunk, so to speak, as kind of a rare kind of collector's item. That's where our rares and legendaries come in. And it is up to us, and it's imperative, and we're adding more people to the team to help you tell that story. I think that's kind of what I want to set it out for today, but understood we have a lot of work to do as a team to continue to make that better understood, from the collector's first time into Top Shot to the most experienced collector being able to go to the marketplace with confidence, knowing exactly what they're getting themselves into, whether they're collecting commons, rares, or legendaries, and one day ultimates,
Right. So I think that's a really good overview of where we are at as a team in building a product and understanding the types of moments that we are rolling out and why we're doing that. But one of the things about moments, right, is, Roham has noted that commons will always be common. So that's where we're at with them. But when we're evaluating accessibility based on collector score, is there any plan to kind of build a hierarchy for them so that some commons are perhaps a little bit more special? I know we already see base set versus special sets, but what about other differentiators? So lower serials, badges, even mint count, things like that.
Yeah, so I think when you look at kind of the base set versus special sets, the advantages to collecting special sets is 100% around kind of how a collector score is already calculated, right? There is priority for special sets. And for us, we definitely want to kind of continue to enforce that the base set, if you complete the complete base set, obviously you're going to get a massive bonus because there are so many moments involved. But special sets like Hustle and Show, which are fairly small sets, there's still a massive advantage to completing the set, even if it is a common, because you get the collector score benefits, and having a complete set for every one of our sets long term will have different opportunities for utility. And we're still kind of working through that. Obviously, we want to get started with the 9 Lives Lounge and Cool Cats, which is very much our intent and still in the plans. I'm sure we'll touch on that a little bit later, Candy. But that's kind of where I would set it for now, but more to come on all of that for sure.
All right, and so yes, you're right. We do have a whole section about Cool Cats and Island Lounge and utility a little bit later on. But for sticking with moments still, there are currently moments that are common and they have a 40,000 plus circulating count. Is that something that we expect to potentially see that upper tier limit increase, or do we more expect them to become LE at this point?
Yeah, this one's a tough one, right? Because I don't want to give anyone the wrong kind of intuition. What I'll say is if a moment is CC, there's always the possibility that it can increase. And I kind of want to leave it there. I have a hunch that it's unlikely to increase beyond 40,000, but there is the possibility. And so you should kind of take that as kind of the overwhelming message out of my response. There's the possibility. And until that moment is LE, you're going to kind of need to assume that it's not LE, right?
So flipping to the very opposite end of the spectrum then from these high circulating count and turning LE moments, what about ultimate or platinum ice moments? How are we looking on those? Is there a release planner? When even might be the right time to release those?
Yeah, good question. There are so many.
Explain what they are for people who are new and haven't yet heard of them. Zach.
Yeah, for sure. So Ultimate is the tier above Legendary. There are going to be Genesis moments. There are going to be Platinum Ice moments. Platinum Ice moments will be out of 3. Genesis moments will be out of 1. Those will be kind of the cream of the crop. Frankly speaking, there are still a lot of details that are being worked out there around kind of distribution and which moments we're choosing and how it goes, that I feel it's a little bit premature for me to divulge far more than that. But there will come a time where there will be Genesis and Platinum Ice moments on Top Shot that are even scarcer than legendaries.
All right. And the last of the questions about specific moments, we have the question back again, the LaMelo MGLE. What's the news there?
Yeah, this is something that I think you'll see fairly soon, definitely in July, if all goes according to plan. They will be out of 499. The moments will be used in a challenge. And we're going to be thoughtful about the distribution here. My hunch, my intuition, that it follows a more similar path to how we distributed the Steph Curry Cool Cat than just a free-for-all random draw, right? Like we're going to look at certain cohorts of collectors that have certain moments in their collection that help them get a chance at getting one of these. And the context here is the MGLE set is our flagship rare set, right? And for us, it's super important to have the best, most collectible players from every team in that set. So LaMelo Ball not being in that set wasn't something we were willing to entertain as a thought. But off the back of Cool Cat's Master Challenge ending and the timing of the premium pack shortly thereafter, we withheld the LaMelos from the pack so that we can have a kind of more thoughtful distribution of those, so that we weren't kind of nerfing, so to speak, the LaMelo Ball Master Challenge reward.
That's such a gamer term, Jacob. Gonna nerf things. What have you been doing in your spare time?
I've been talking to Alan too much, I suppose.
I was just gonna say, like, that's probably a joke too. Spare time. You are the busiest man I know. Let's move on though to cues. This is the last of this, through series 2 and beyond section. Pack cues. So people had asked, wondering before yesterday happened, about the tiered drop system, how we see that working, and how we expect that to benefit the different types of collectors in the community overall. They were looking for a sneak peek, but we saw the stress test yesterday. So instead, let's flip that and talk about the learnings, how that went, what we think was good, what could improve.
Yeah, absolutely. And apologies for the slight pause. Wanted to reply to a very fair question in the chat, in the office hours chat, that is. Okay, so I think when it comes to, actually, Candy, I apologize, but can you repeat the question just so that I can kind of maintain a train of thought around it?
Yes, so the tiered drop system that is new and being rolled out. It's something people were wondering about because they had seen the updates on the website, with the GQ, and they asked these questions before we had the stress test. So instead of answering what it is, why don't we follow up with like the overview of what it is, but how it went and what we learned yesterday, so that way we can apply this to future drops.
Yeah. So yesterday, the stress test is going to be, obviously the collector score points involved are going to be very different than what you saw in the stress test yesterday. But the test yesterday was to see, can we create a dynamic in which there are 3 different queues going that all have slightly different collector score requirements to get into? And that's exactly how we're going to see. And then there were 4. There are going to be 3 different queues. More details still to come around the collector scores required for each of those queues. But the idea is the queue that is kind of the general queue, it's going to have a fairly low barrier to entry. So if you're a newer collector, you're going to have a puncher's chance at a rare pack. And that's something that's really important and exciting to the entire Top Shot journey. If you have a puncher's chance, it just takes one opportunity to get lucky and get a good spot in the queue and have that rare moment in your collection. For a new collector, that's an awesome kind of experience. With that being said, we also want to reward our most active collectors with a better chance if they work themselves into priority queues, so to speak. So I think I can say prematurely here before the announcement that the queues that we're going to be using for, and then there were 4, we'll have a general queue, we'll have a priority queue number 1 and a priority queue number 2. Priority queue number 1 is going to have the highest collector score threshold to get eligible. And in that, because fewer people are going to be eligible, those are going to have the best chance of actually snagging the pack. Then we're going to have a priority queue number 2, which is going to be a better chance than the general queue, but not quite as good a chance as the top tier queue. And then last but not least, the general queue. Again, the whole intent of that is everyone's going to have an opportunity. And if you're a collector that has a really high collector score and has access to all 3 queues, and you go into the priority 1 queue and you come away empty-handed, and you go into the priority priority 2 queue and come away empty-handed, you'll still have a third bite at the apple, so to speak, in the general queue. Cool Cats collectors are going to have access to all 3 of those queues, yes.
I was going to say 2 things about this, Jacob. First, I'm glad you got the bite at the apple reference in because I was waiting for it this whole time. But second, how dare you reference a punter's chance and then not follow that with bouncing into the queue? Like, you need to get a good bounce.
Oh, I said
Sure.
puncher with a CH, but puncher's chance is fine too.
I was like, how you not follow that up, man? So a puncher's chance. We're going to get in either way. Everyone will have a chance, even at the lower collector scores, as long as you meet that minimum threshold. That's
if I can Zach Lowe for a second. Zach Lowe, one of the best basketball writers in the world, and he often goes into these kind of Seinfeldian, quirky, like trying to look up kind of the history and origin of phrases. I think puncher's chance comes from like the concept of you going into a boxing ring against a much bigger fighter. But if you're a good puncher, you get one punch to the head, you have the knockout. So that's where I think the phrase puncher's chance comes from.
Pretty sure I like the other option anyway. Could just be because I'm a football fan, though. Let's move on from obscure references to incentivizations and activations. So this section, we have challenges. Let's start there. Things that are challenging or exciting because people are achieving stuff. Do we have thoughts about having a playoff challenge reward that rewards someone for holding all of the previous challenge rewards, which is essentially akin to a master challenge?
Yeah, for this, I would say, when we're doing master challenges, we've said it before, we'll say it again here. Those will be announced within a week of the set kind of being released. So collectors, at the very latest, will know that a master challenge is coming within a week of the set kind of release. In this case, we have not done that with playoff packs, and we're not going to, turn the tables on you. There's no master challenge at all with playoff pack.
Okay. What about any utility or benefits to those who complete and collect the entire playoff challenge set with the challenges, the rewards? Is there a big picture reward there aside from, yes, you've done it?
Well, of course, it's a huge set. So the collector score bonus for completing the huge set will be big. As far as potential advantages of having the complete playoff set, aside from what it will do for your collector score, nothing is etched in stone. I would say it's not quite as high a priority as kind of Nine Lives Lounge and making sure that Cool Cat's complete set is kind of esteemed as it should be. But we're looking into it. If there are little things that we can do, we'll certainly look into it. But I would caveat that by saying we're looking into complete sets across the board, not just playoff packs or Cool Cats. We're looking at what having a complete set does for you long term. And I would want to kind of caveat that by saying I don't think there's anything coming all too soon. But something that is in discussions at Dapper Labs and we're looking into.
All right. The last question about challenges. Are we expecting any more MGLE challenges this season?
Yes, we are, but not until all of the MGLEs have been distributed, and there are still MGLEs that still to come in the finals legendary drop.
All right. So on a similar topic, team set completions, Jacob, because one specific question, they noted that collecting the full team set is fun, it's exciting, it gives collectors a goal or a sense of direction and accomplishment. But there have also been some concerns about the impact of, say, run it back moments, having bottlenecks to having the full team completion bonus for collector score. So do we have any plans to adjust the requirements to maybe allow completion without those extra sets?
Yeah, so full team sets for Series 2 and future series for that matter, they're meant to be manageable for a fan, but not necessarily easy. And full team sets for a complete series combined, for all the series combined, I should say, those are definitely not meant to be easy or for every single collector on the platform. It will take a significant commitment to keep all season bonuses together as team composition changes and new sets, including Run It Back, make it to the product. So the bonus is so high precisely because it was planned with a very difficult path forward in the future. So, that as a collector, you can kind of complete the complete set across series today, but that doesn't necessarily mean that long term it's going to be easy to maintain. And that's where that significant bonus comes into effect. But with that being said, we are still experimenting with collector score and making sure we have it as a sustainable feature long term.
All right, so speaking of long term, do we have any insights to how holding full team sets for specific series will impact your collector score bonuses in future series?
Give me a second there, Candy. Can you repeat the question?
Sure. So right now, holding the full team set give you a bonus to your collector score. When we roll out future series, will having previous full teams, for that series kind of help your collector score in the current season? So if you're holding previous series.
Yeah, if you have the complete Series 2 team set of the, let's say, Phoenix Suns, for example, that the bonuses you get from that will continue. You're not gonna all of a sudden have spent money in the marketplace around a strategy that no longer exists for you. And these are decisions that we are taking with community's sentiment and feedback very much in mind. So it's possible that Series 3 or future series has a different kind of mechanism, but we'll announce that ahead of time so collectors have confidence as they're making collector strategies, and not kind of changing the terms on them as they've already committed to a strategy, so to speak.
All right. So that is, I think, reassuring for a lot of people to know that the community sentiment and the current collectors are, the feedback is being prioritized in terms of the direction forward to make sure that we're being conscientious of everyone that we already have and appreciate. So moving on actually to more collector score utility and trade tickets. Do we have a timeline for implementing the trade tickets? I know the April 30th blog post mentioned the expectation to be rolled out by the end of November 2022, so next year, but we haven't seen us start yet.
Yeah, so two kind of things going on with that question. So I want to make sure that they're not conflated. Trade tickets as a feature will exist far beyond November 2022. Our hope, though, is that we finish releasing the Series 1 reserve packs at that point. So November 22 is kind of the internal deadline we're setting to have all of the Series 1 reserve packs distributed to the community. And there's a blog on that I hope someone in the community can pull up for those tuning in, so that they can kind of better understand the logistics there if they're unfamiliar. But again, trade tickets are going to be used for all kinds of things long term, not just Series 1 reserve packs. And from my understanding internally, we are very much intending to be done with distributing Series 1 reserves by November of 2022. We have not shifted course on that. With that said, we don't have kind of a target launch date of trade tickets. It's something that we're still scoping out and still kind of putting into our kind of roadmap and decision tree of what features we need to build next.
Alrighty. So with regard to trade tickets, how will trading in moments for these Series 1 packs affect your collector score? And I think this is an interesting question because, it touches on essentially which moments you're choosing to trade and what bonuses they may be eligible before you send them away, and what bonuses you could get by getting Series 1. What are your thoughts there, Jacob?
Yeah, I think of this fairly similarly to having an unopened pack in your collection. Unless the moments are in your collection, explicitly in your collection, if you go to my collection in your Top Shot account, you can see how many moments are in your collection. So unless the moments are in your collection, they won't count toward your collector score. So if you trade in one of your moments for a trade ticket, that moment's collector score point value will be removed from your account. It won't contribute toward your collector score. So as you're kind of deciding which moments to trade in, keep that in mind. But yeah, of course, if you are trading in a moment, you no longer own that moment and you don't get the benefits of collector score points from that moment. but you do get the benefit of having an extra trade ticket in your collection.
Alrighty. And can you tell us anything about any new features that are coming? So this kind of gets on to utility as a whole. But, we're completing challenges, we're doing showcases, we're doing quests. Is there anything else that we can look forward to or have in the works that we can share? Because I know we've got a lot going on, but anything we can share here, Jacob?
Yeah, I think last night was really fun for us to be able to do a quest based on the action of the night and a trivia game over social media while the game was playing. So I think you're going to see a lot more quests from us, especially as we're able to kind of build that into a more kind of full-fledged feature on Top Shot long term. And trivia, which I think is going to be a big part of kind of what we're trying to do, as far as bringing big NBA fans closer to the action and showing off their fandom and their knowledge of the sport to get packs.
All right. And do we have any, I guess, one of the things that had come and kind of been like a hot ticket item the last couple weeks was collector score moving forward. Do we have any potential changes, concerns that were shared in the community, information we can use to alleviate some of those concerns with our direction for collector score moving forward? And you touched on this a little bit when you were explaining that, we're not going to be removing bonuses that people had achieved already.
Yeah, so I think when it comes to the collector score moving forward, there aren't going to be rug pulls about kind of point systems changing on moments that you've already collected. Now those bonuses, complete team set bonuses, if you are a collector and you've already collected run it back moments, there are more run it back moments coming to Top Shot. So it should be kind of intuitive that there will be more run it backs, and having that complete across series bonus will require getting more moments from kind of every set. And for us, we're going to be preemptive with our strategy, right? So we're going to announce strategies and collector score and how all of those things interact ahead of time, so that collectors don't collect around a certain strategy only to have that kind of strategy no longer be valid.
Thank you. I think that's helpful to be able to get that out there. Next topic, the Cool Cats 9 Live Lounge. People are looking for clarity about this. Will there be benefits extending beyond the next 2 pack drops? Will future drops also qualify for the bonus? Is there anything aside from the Discord group which is coming, and when is that coming? I'm going to wrap all those questions into one.
Yeah, so the 9 Lives Lounge bonus is a Series 2 commitment that we are sticking to. So if you have all 30 Cool Cats in your collection, you'll have access to every queue in, and then there were 4. So even if your collector score isn't particularly close to what the priority number 1 queue will be, you're going to have access to it because of having all 30 Cool Cats in your collection. We are waiting on third-party partners to help us kind of build the 9 Lives Lounge into Discord. I've had a conversation with them within the last week, positive momentum, making good progress, no timeline to share on it. But yeah, to be clear, this is not going to be a one-time kind of reward and then we're done and we're going to pat ourselves on the back and say, okay, we did it. We look at the 9 Lives Lounge as kind of the Top Shot Soho house. I've said that before. Roham said that before. And that group will continue to have perks long term that are going to be really cool. So if you're a collector and you have all 30 Cool Cats in your collection, kudos to you, because good stuff is on the way. And if you're a collector and you want to work yourself into access to this Soho house, you'll be able to by collecting them.
All right. And Jacob, let's actually divert from our agenda here for just a minute. We've been getting a lot of feedback on both Twitter and Discord about a comment that was made earlier in the office hours here. And I believe it was when you're talking about minting and kind of how we're determining how, we're planning for future. And people are concerned about the comment, billions with a B, so having that many users. And I think this is something that is relative to, kind of Dapper's overall goal of bringing 1 billion users to the blockchain. Like, that definitely is a common thing, but it's something that people, I think, are latching onto right now. So we need a little more clarification there.
Yeah. I think, as I said earlier, we're trying to bring billions of collectors to the blockchain through Dapper Labs and all the products that we're building. And Top Shot is certainly a flagship product. But no, I don't have kind of any false illusions that we're going to have billions of collectors on Top Shot specifically. But I do think we're going to have millions and tens of millions at that. And the hope is to bring, there are hundreds of millions, if not billions, of NBA fans around the world, bringing them closer to Top Shot so that Top Shot can be the currency of your NBA fandom. I think that's very much what we're trying to do. But yeah, thanks for the opportunity to clarify. I'm not, by saying billions with a B, our mission is to bring billions of people to the blockchain, and Top Shot is going to be one of the driving forces to make it happen. But we're not counting on having billions of Top Shot collectors. That is unequivocally not what I'm saying here.
I'd say, and more than that, that's not an assumption that we're making right now, so we're not making the choices for minting and distribution based on that, far distant number. So big term, long goals as, something for the general ecosystem.
Yeah, exactly. Our decision making right now is very much grounded in where we think we'll be, where we are and where we think we'll be, not when everything is kind of fully fledged and we have a robust ecosystem of NFTs, but much more in line with kind of looking at the data, looking at our collectors, looking at how many NBA fans are out there, and forecasting out how we can kind of take the next step.
And I know we're getting close on time, so let's scoot along here. We're having really good responses to the showcase quests, and we've been kind of leaning on third-party tools like the Moment Nerd website to help verify, whether or not your showcase is eligible. Is that something that we're looking at building into the Top Shot site directly?
Yeah, I think when we're talking about showcases in general, there's so much low-hanging fruit for us to build into the product. Building your lineup, right? Like maybe not even calling them a quest long term. I don't know. Like these are kind of ideas that we're thinking about. How do we make it more endemic to an NBA fan? So fill out your lineup for the night rather than fill out your quest for the night, right? Things like that. Dragging and dropping moments from your collection into a lineup, so to speak. So it has a much cleaner interface, not necessarily requiring putting them into a showcase, but kind of having that feature already built out as a very intuitive process. Right now it is quite clunky, right? That's because it's an MVP, right? We wanted to prove the concept. It's clearly resonating with the community. People like it, and we're going to build it as a better feature long term. No timeline on it, of course, but yeah, I absolutely think that there's going to be a lot of stuff that we build into the product that helps verify that you're eligible, verify that you did the lineup really well, things like that.
All right. So actually, other things that people are, very focused on currently is the concept of staking and burning moments. So that's been kind of something that has been mentioned as a general goal, but is there anything very specific that we can share about how we foresee that working into Top Shot as a product? And if that's something I don't know where we're at, so I've had to dodge this question personally. And I don't know if you have more information than I do.
Yeah, well, both of those things, staking and burning, will come to Top Shot at some point, right? Like, as you already can see in your collectible details, you can see the burning kind of element is built into it. So that will be something that we can build and plan to build. Staking, I think, can take on a bunch of different forms, but we're absolutely looking into how can we incentivize collectors not only collect, but then hold on to those moments for defined periods of time. And I think there are some really kind of interesting concepts that I've heard from the community and concepts that are being thrown around internally on what that could look like. No more details to share on that today, but absolutely both of those things will be kind of parts of the Top Shot experience long term. But yeah, no timeline on them.
All right. And for the last couple minutes, what I want to look at is kind of the future direction. So can you tell us about, plans for essentially what happens, how we get through the beta phase and how we get people, onto the next phase and into non-custodial wallets? Do we have information about that, timelines?
Yeah, there's no timeline on it. But what that will look like long term is the ability to buy, sell, potentially trade moments outside of NBATopShot.com. We have some great partners in the ecosystem. Uh, too many to name. I don't want to exclude anyone, but you're going to be able to take your moment off of Top Shot and interact with them on different marketplaces throughout the kind of crypto space.
All right. And for looking forward, a lot of people, I guess, first off, like the most upvoted question that was submitted in Discord office hours was wondering about our communication, because we had a while ago noted that we would be sharing all communications from official sources, and then it was noted that the First Mint actually tweeted about playoff pack releases 2 minutes before our own Twitter and Discord were getting that message out. Like, can you explain how that happened? Because I think that the assumptions and the reality are a little bit unmatched here.
Yeah, I can't speak to the specific. What I can promise everyone is that we had no contact with the First Mint around the details of this. What likely happened, my assumption, and I would let the First Mint speak for themselves here, but when we publish a blog, there are certain content creators in our community that have API scrapers, and they can see anytime an update has happened to a blog. So I think there may have been a 2 or 3 minute lag between us hitting publish on the blog and us being able to make short links out of hitting publish so that we can share it on socials. So in that 2 to 3 minutes where we hit publish, we take that link, turn it into a short link, get the copy ready to hit publish on Discord, hit publish on Twitter, hit publish on Instagram. There's the chance that they were able to see the API updated because they're scraping it, and they're able to get the announcement out. All of this happens within a minute or two. So I'm not going to be too hard on ourselves for having a minute or two of lag between hitting publish and having it shared on socials. But it is a good thought and good learning for us that this stuff does happen, and we need to be kind of cognizant that it happens and get better and even quicker in that, turning that 2 minutes into 30 seconds or 15 seconds, whatever it is. But yeah, it's definitely not any kind of nefarious activity or us talking with the First Mint about details.
And the clarification also is that, we posted it on the blog first, which is an official source that came from us. So, that's something that, when information comes out, that's usually the very first place that it comes. And then we disseminate it on socials from there. So if you're keeping an eye on the blog, that's where information's coming out.
That's right. And look, I'm not expecting anyone in the community to set up I'm not expecting anyone in the community to set up, API scrapers, but like this is not proprietary technology that the First Mint has. They, as a community content creator, it's their job, and they've been very good at it, making sure information is shared as quickly as possible. I look at them in a very similar way to how I look at Adrian Wojnarowski, right? And NBA players complain all the time about having themselves find out that they're traded because they see it in a tweet on Twitter, right? It's very hard to own the narrative while hitting publish across every single platform.
All right. So we're going to move on to a couple future questions. I know we're like a minute over. I'm going to hold you, Jacob, though, because I want you to tell us what we're looking at for, short-term priorities for Top Shot. It used to be market fixes, but now, it looks like we're moving toward new user activation from a community perspective. What are our short-term priorities?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think there are kind of two different, very important short-term priorities that we're focused on. Number one is confidence in the product, the marketplace, the economy, continuing to take feedback from the community, continuing to improve our communication, continuing to learn, get better, and create the very best version of Top Shot that exists. So that's one priority, and that's something that we're working tooth and nail on. The second priority, which I think you all can probably see on a material level in product week by week, is improving the new collector experience. So starter packs, team quests, getting yourself eligible for rare packs within your first week on Top Shot. All of these things are extremely important to kind of being able to bring new collectors in, have positive experiences so that they can continue to love Top Shot and bring even more people to the art. So those are the top two priorities, I would say, and they're both equally important because without both of those kind of hitting their stride and being optimized and perfected, we're nothing. So believe me when I say this, we are working very hard on both of those things.
And last question for today, Jacob. Tell us the two biggest rocks you think Top Shot needs to move over the next 12 to 18 months to grow from our kind of crypto-centric user base to a more full NBA fandom user base, because there's definitely right now, I think, a lot of room to get more fans who are not aware of, even how crypto can improve their collector experience. So
Yeah, it's a good question. I think like right now we have a very crypto NFT savvy community on Top Shot. But there's no NFT collector in the world that doesn't know about Top Shot at this point. So our next path forward in the next 12 to 18 months is to bring NBA diehard fans to the community in really novel ways. And I think, to use an analogy, we're kind of building the airplane, the runway, the tarmac, and steering the plane all at the same time. And it's important for us to constantly take feedback from the community, continuously build a better product so that we can drive more confidence into the experience, drive more confidence into collectors' decision making around which moments they're going to pick up from the marketplace. And last but not least, utility, right? Utility is going to be a huge part of this because in our mission to make Top Shot the currency of NBA fandom, it's going to be essential for us to explain Top Shot's value and Top Shot's excitement to a fan in a way that, might be a little more tangible than understanding Top Shot as a real life 24/7 marketplace where you can buy and sell and collect the greatest moments from NBA history. So I think that's kind of the biggest thing we want to work on right now is improving utility and improving collector kind of confidence around everything that we're doing.
perfect. So I definitely think that the takeaway there is, we are constantly working to improve the confidence in the product, the community, like all of the things that, happen on the day to day, like they really are building up toward a really awesome future. And that's exciting to see, that the community is being so impactful to build a product that, we can all be excited about.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the best is still to come for sure. As for, I saw this question a bunch. Just want to make sure that it's at least acknowledged. No update on rakebacks this week. Don't want to kind of delve further than there. We're still kind of working out kind of what it looks like internally, and not in a position to share any updates from what we've already shared, but at least want to put it on record that there are no updates this week, and it's not something that I'm ignoring.
Perfect. Thank you, Jacob. Is there anything else? I know I've kept you over a little bit and we didn't get to all the questions, so we might have to put those on the to-do list, but is there anything else that you think we need to touch on or you want to share with the community? You want to hype up what's happening with the finals?
No, nothing yet. I will say this. Beyond being in line for the queue today, good chance that we're going to have some comms and some announcements either today or tomorrow. Certainly at some point this weekend is my intention. So just stay tuned. Check your email. Check our socials. Check Discord. Check the blog. All over. I would say, count on hearing from us by tomorrow afternoon at the latest, and decent chance today.
Fantastic. Well, as always, Jacob, thank you for your time, for fielding a lot of these questions that the community has provided, and absolutely to the community for asking the questions, because that helps us understand where you all are at and what we need to do to keep things moving forward.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great Friday, and we'll talk next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye.